for creative journaling. Before we get into it, my name is Julia. I'm an artist that creates journals for your me time. And today we're going to be using these alcohol markers in a journal I created called the Inner Escape Creative Journal. And this is just a creative space for your me time. It not only has places for you to journal, like traditional line pages, but it also has gridded paper. It also has blank paper. And it also has coloring pages. And today we're going to be doing a coloring page. And I'm going to be talking about these Anymark alcohol markers because when I was doing research on them, I couldn't really find a lot of reviews on it. And I like these markers, so I want to be the one to give a little review. So today we're going to be Today we're going to be using the alcohol markers on this mandala that I drew that is inside of the Inner Escape Creative Journal. And I'm just going to give 3 simple tips, very, very simple tips. I'm not an expert on alcohol markers, but I have gotten a little bit comfortable with using them to, let me show you some things that I did before with these very same Anymark alcohol markers. So this is something that I completed last week. This is alcohol markers and colored pencils. And this is something that I did with alcohol markers. So today we're gonna do it live and direct. So like I said, I came across these alcohol markers and I wanted to look up the reviews on them just to see other people's thoughts. Initially, I came across these alcohol markers at an event I went to called Art House VI in the Virgin Islands. It's like a live drawing event. And at this live drawing event, they had these markers. And before I went to that event, I was like, I really want to try alcohol markers out. And it just so happened that they had these there. I looked them up on Amazon and they were only $13 for me. They were on sale for $13. And so I ordered them and I really been liking them. So before we even get into the like how to use them, I'm going to show you what they come with. So they were about $13 for me and they were free shipping, which is very rare in the Virgin Islands. And this is what it looks like. It came with a bag and it also came with this, I can't find it, but it came with a bag and inside of it, it had it was like a protector for when you're coloring and you don't want it to bleed through. Let me find that actually, because I really want to show it to you. Okay, here it is. So the alcohol marker comes with this. As you can see, it says, if you're coloring on thin paper, please put this pad in between your coloring sheets. So this goes in between the coloring sheets so that when you're using these alcohol markers, they don't bleed through. I actually forgot to use this one time, and let me show you what happens when you don't use this thing. See how this, I don't know if you can see this, but this yellow marker bled through. So before we even get into the tips, I guess that's really the first tip. Whenever you're coloring with alcohol markers, you want to make sure you put something in between the pages, because if you don't put anything between the pages, it'll bleed through. So that's like one of the main reasons that I absolutely love this alcohol marker set, because it came with something that will, you can use to block out or to put in between the pages. Napolitan says, wow, yeah, I'm really amazed and impressed with these alcohol markers. All right, so also these alcohol markers will be linked in my description once I finish this live. But right now I just want to get into this because I'm really excited about these markers. So these markers came unordered, and because they came unordered, I decided to do a little swatch and just to see how everything looked. My first tip is that I would recommend doing a color swatch, because you don't really know what the colors look like just based upon the numbers. Let me see, is that in frame? You don't really know what they look like just based upon the numbers. And so what I did was, it's kind of sloppy, but I just wrote the name of the alcohol marker and I just did a little swatch. And that way I can just see where everything is. And then I put this swatch inside of one of these sheet protectors. And sometimes I even use this sheet protector to put in between my coloring pages when I'm coloring, to not only protect the next page, but to also just have this on hand in reference. So as you can see, these alcohol markers are very pigmented. I really like how they look. My only thing when I started doing the swatches is that some of these look very similar. Like orange looks kind of similar to French vermilion. I don't really know why that is. I don't know if that's like a normal thing, but for $13, you know, I couldn't really complain. So that's all that these come with. They come with the markers, the protector, and the bag. So let's get into it because I don't just want to, you know, be talking. So I'm going to start off by putting this sheet protector in between this coloring page. I'm actually going to face it this way. And then looking at my swatch sheet, I think I'm going to just quickly pick some colors for the sake of this live. This carmine is speaking to me. And I think I'm going to also use this vivid red. So, okay. Another thing about these alcohol markers is they're labeled by numbers. I really don't know if they're actually correct because some of the numbers are missing. I don't think that there's like numbers to buy in between them because when I looked on the website, it didn't have any. So I don't know. But I try not to get too deep into the technical details because I just look based upon what colors I want and then I choose. All right, so I'm gonna go with 11 carmine. I'm gonna go with 4 vivid red because I'm thinking that my hibiscus flower is gonna be like red and maybe a little bit of pink. So I think I'm gonna use this pastel pink, or maybe I should use the vivid pink. What do you think? Should I use vivid pink number 6 or should I use pastel pink number 7? I don't know. I'm gonna just go with 6 off the top of my head. Now, this is something that I have learned with using alcohol markers. Before just applying them to my page, I try to do a swatch to see how the colors blend. That way, before I even get into coloring, I'm not like, oh my gosh, why did I choose that color? So I'm just gonna use this little scrap piece of paper with my to-do list on it. And I'm just gonna see how these colors blend together. Also, let me put this under because you can see they kind of blend or they bleed through the page. So I'm just seeing if these will work together. Let me see. I'm gonna try this pink. And before even getting into the coloring, it just takes a little bit of experimentation to just see like, what do I want to use together? What's gonna look right? And what I'm looking for basically is like colors that are subtly different, but not too different. Like you see how these two pink shades are, I like how they are a little bit similar. They're kind of in the same color family, I guess it would be the technical word. And so I'm gonna set these aside and I'm gonna use these. And I think I want one more, maybe this pink salmon. Let's see. Another thing about swatching is that it's important to do this because sometimes the colors look different when you actually put them on paper. They look different from what the marker says. So I like to just test it out before going all in. And it helps me to stay, it helps me not to be confident in what I'm creating so that I'm not like, oh my gosh, why did I choose that color? All right, so I'm still deciding on this color. I feel like I need one more red, but so let me just take the time. Let me try a pale lilac. Let me try a pink, another pink. So pale lilac is number 147. So I'm gonna look for 147 in these alcohol markers. Let's see, why am I not seeing it? Did I already take it out? No. Okay, here we go. Pale lilac. All right. This is a prime example of why you need to swatch, because this looks like a purple, but okay, it does kind of look like a purple. So I think I'm gonna use this. Do I like that? I don't know if I like that. Okay, maybe I'm just gonna go with 2 colors for the sake of this video. 3 colors. I'm gonna do these 3. Vivid pink, pastel pink, and carmine pink. So the next thing when it comes to alcohol markers that I'm learning is that after you choose the colors, you want to put down your sheet protector, as we've said, and paper is very important. Like, the thinner the paper, like if you have regular copy paper, you can still use alcohol markers on copy paper, but it will be bleed through, which is the importance of having this little screen protector. I can't emphasize that enough. All right, so let's get to coloring. I'm using 17 pastel pink, and I'm just coloring. So I like these alcohol markers because I don't find them to be streaky. I find also when I swipe like this, when I just quickly go like this, it's less likely that I'll experience streaking. But for the sake of this video, I'm just coloring quickly to show you how I'm using these alcohol markers and what effects I'm able to come with. Alcohol markers dry fairly quickly, so in order not to get that streaky look and to get that smooth overall color, I'm learning to kind of color quickly. And so that's why you kind of see me coloring quickly. So paper does matter when it comes to alcohol markers. You can use regular copy paper, but just know that you won't be able to layer too much because it might bleed through or kind of ruin the alcohol marker. Excuse me, it might ruin the regular paper because, you know, alcohol markers, you're going back and forth with them. So the paper may kind of roll up or kind of fall apart. I haven't really been experiencing this with my journal, but I pretty much only do 1 or 2 layers of alcohol markers. After I do my 1 or 2 layers of alcohol markers, I go in with colored pencils. And this is why I don't really have problems with them bleeding through. I think for my next video, I'll show how I use alcohol markers, how I use colored pencils in combination with the alcohol markers. I love using these alcohol markers in my creative journal because they allow me to put down color really quickly, and they just have a really pigmented look, and I enjoy the way they look. When I created this journal, I wanted to create it for the people who don't always have something to write. I wanted to create this journal for people who sometimes want to get into the journal. They want to create something or they want to say something, but they don't want to write. Maybe you just want to color. Maybe you just want to play with your alcohol markers. Maybe you just want to have fun in the pages. That's what this journal is for. So it's not just limited to writing. It's coloring. You can color. One thing I want to note, I didn't do this, but I should have. Every time you use this coloring page, it's ideal to wipe it off because the colors from these alcohol markers will bleed back onto this page. But it's okay because that's not really bothering me. It's just something to note. So yeah, that's why I created this journal. I just wanted a creative space for my me time that didn't limit me to just writing. Sometimes in my journal I want to draw. Sometimes in my journal I want to doodle. Sometimes in my journal I want to work out an idea. So this journal has line paper, journal paper, blank paper, gridded paper, coloring pages, and journal prompts. So it's a really interactive journal. If you're interested in just checking it out, you can visit theinnerescape.com. I will link that when this video is done. All right, so we've got our first layer of alcohol markers down. So the first tip was, as I said, basically paper matters. You want to make sure that you have a good quality paper and that it's not bleeding through. Because it can bleed through, you want to have something like this in order to catch it. All right, so the next tip is to color in strokes. So that's what people say. I don't always do it, but it does work when you just color in strokes like this. It eliminates streakiness, and also it helps you to not use so much alcohol marker, so that number one, you can save your ink in the alcohol marker, but also so that you don't ruin the paper. So I've been learning that, and sometimes I do like to just do the proper way and do strokes like I'm doing now. But then on other days, I'm just like, okay, I just want to color like a third grader. And I do it like this. Let me take a sip of ginger tea. Excuse me. All right. So yeah, coloring in strokes or coloring regular, whatever you want to do. Different strokes for different folks, no pun intended. This is just what I like to do. I feel like when it comes to art, there's no right or wrong. Sometimes the people who break the rules are like the most innovative people. When it comes to art, I do not want to sit down and be making something and be worrying about rules. Like, that's what regular life is for. But when it comes to creativity, when I sit down in my journal, in my creative journal, I just want to explore. Like, the journal is one of the places where you can explore. You can explore yourself. You can explore your art materials. You can explore what you're feeling. Okay, I have to take this out. I cannot take the bleed through. I'm going to put this underneath. All right. Yeah, creating or exploring in the journal is just one of the best places to tap into your inner world. All right, so that's the second layer. My third tip for using alcohol markers, and we kind of talked about this earlier, is just to pick out your colors ahead of time. Of course, you can just freestyle it. You can just use whatever you want. But I find when I really want that cohesive look at the end, when I've done a little bit of planning, choosing alcohol markers, the alcohol markers that I want ahead of time, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. And although I do like to explore when it comes to my art, I also really like to have a loose vision. You know, like just as much as I'm like free spirited when it comes to my art, I do like to plan. I do like to have a little plan. So even that is a part of the exploration, like just figuring out like how I like to create. All right, so I want to keep talking, but I feel like I don't really have anything else to say. I just want to color. So if you have any coloring materials, or you have any, you have your journal, I'm going to take this moment to be silent and allow you a moment to take a deep breath and just listen to the sounds of the colors. All right, so let's keep coloring. Oh, before I go into silence, I really enjoy these alcohol markers. I got them from Amazon. At the end, when I get off of this live, I will link the video or I will link the links so that you can check out these alcohol markers. They were $13 for me and free shipping in the Virgin Islands where I live. That's kind of rare because usually Amazon charges. So yeah, they charge for shipping in the Virgin Islands. So this was kind of a steal for me, and I really enjoy using them. I'm not a professional alcohol marker user, but I do have a little bit of experience, and from my experience, I've really been enjoying these. You can't really beat it for $13. I think it has the perfect amount of markers where I don't feel overwhelmed, but I do have a lot of options. So yeah, these markers, if you're interested, will be linked. You can see how I'm using them and what the colors look like. And I will just start coloring and I will stop talking. This pink is gorgeous. I really love it. Okay, so I see we have a few people on the live too. I want to know where is everybody checking in from? Right now I'm in the Virgin Islands. It is 8:17 in the morning. I'm drinking my ginger tea. I've been taking a break from coffee, so ginger has been like my replacement for that. This pink is so pretty. Okay. I think I'm gonna do a red for the border of the flower. I forgot to mention that on these alcohol markers, there's two sides. So you have the fine tip, which is the thin nib. Then you have the chisel tip. I don't really use the chisel tip a lot. I mostly like to use the fine tip because it gives me more control. This is so pretty. Let me get a little closer. All right, so I think for the next color inside of these things, I'm gonna paint, or I'm gonna color that this dark pink. I really like this dark pink because it's so rich. So I like that all of these colors are in the same color family, like a reddish pink. And tomorrow when I go over it with tomorrow when I go over this with colored pencils, it's going to be so pretty. And this is why I like to color in my journal, because when I don't want to use words, it's like some days I just want to wake up and just color. Because for me, journaling is an introspective practice. Like, that's the reason why I do it. And so when I use my journal to color, I'm not writing, no, but I am thinking. You know, I find when I write, like the other day I was listening to a reggae song, and because I was coloring the lyrics, it's like the lyrics slowed down and I was able to hear what the artist was saying. And I'm like, this is some really spiritual music. Like, but I wouldn't have been able to hear the lyrics unless I was coloring. Like, I'm one of those people that in school, when the teacher was giving a lecture, I had to doodle. Like, it just helps me learn. When I'm doing something with my hands, I just feel like my ears open up. I don't know why that is. But same thing for, listening to your inner thoughts. It's like when I'm coloring, I can hear my inner thoughts better. When I'm journaling, I hear my inner thoughts better. So that's why I wanted to put journaling and coloring in one journal. Um, if you're catching this live kind of late, I'm using the Inner Escape Creative Journal. It's a creative space for your me time. It has more than just the typical journal pages. It has gridded papers so you can sketch out ideas. It has blank pages so you can draw or doodle or come up with ideas. It has journal prompts. And it also has these coloring pages, which we're doing today using the Anymark alcohol markers. I love these markers. They were only $13, and they're just so good. I like them. They're good too if you're like just starting out with alcohol markers and you don't really know if it's gonna be the medium you like. Although I'm partial, I feel like I love these alcohol markers. I'm able to quickly put down color. I can layer them. They go on many different surfaces, so I like them. Now, would I spend $100 on those other markers that people be using, like the Copic or the Ohuhu? I don't quite know. Not at this moment. I don't think I would. So these $13 markers, and I think I got like 50, no, 60. It just worked for me. Like the price point, the amount of colors, like it was good for me. So I like these markers for my creative journal. I think I'm gonna use this red for the eyes. Also, humble brag. The coloring pages in this um in this journal are hand drawn. I did not use AI. Like, I see a lot of people making coloring books and stuff, and they use AI images, and no hate to them. Everybody has the right to do what they want, but it's just different when you sit down and make your own coloring page from hand. I literally drew this, and I took it into Procreate, digitized it, and included it in the journal I created. So yeah, I'm not 100% against AI, but I just feel like for my own creativity, like I don't really need AI. Like for drawing and stuff, I like to challenge myself and actually try to draw. So I'm not saying I don't think AI is helpful or useful or whatever, but for me and my creativity, I like to just do things with my hands. So yeah, I think this red looks really good. What do you guys think? Let me take a sip of tea. I love a strong ginger tea. Sometimes I go out of the line when I'm coloring, but I also am not that meticulous because it's just like the more that I make and create art. Ooh, I literally just went out of. I literally just went out of the lines. But the more that I create art, I'm like, there's so many other things in life to be stressing about. I'm not gonna be stressing about going outside of the lines when I'm coloring. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. So I'm debating if I should also color in the pupils red. Should I do that or no? I'm still deciding, but I would love your feedback. Let me know. Should I color the pupils red or should I do them like a dark pink? Dark pink or red? Let me know. I think I'm gonna do a light pink because I will be able to go in with a little bit of a red color pencil tomorrow. And I think that may be nice to have that little gradient. All right, so where's the cap? I don't know where the cap is to my marker. Anyway, I'm gonna go in with this dark pink. Maybe I should go in with the light pink. I don't know. Let's just do it. Let's just see what happens. There's no going back. No. Okay, I like it. It's cool. And then I'm gonna color the stems of this hibiscus flower a light pink so I can go back in later with my colored pencils and layer some color. That's another reason why I like these alcohol markers. They look so good when layered with other mediums like colored pencils. I'm gonna just color this pink right here. Okay. All right, so that is how I color with alcohol markers. Tomorrow I'm going to color with pencils. I'm gonna go over this with pencils. If you like this video, be sure to like this video. You can subscribe to my channel for more creative journaling. Chat soon. Bye-bye.